Hey folks, I'm here from the Vo2 Performance podcast. Now this week I'm talking all about training and the intensity that I feel from research and putting into practice with the cyclists that I coach has seen them get the best benefits from their training, improve their ability to hold power for longer, increase their power as they get older, and also be able to climb hills fast. I get this question flung at me all the time. It's like, what's the point of training and why don't we just ride our bikes to get fit? Well, look, the way that I look at this is you can, and if you're coming from a really low level base of fitness, you're gonna start seeing some changes and improvements in your fitness. That much is for sure. But is that the quickest way or the best way to build your physiology? One thing I know for sure is just riding your bike will get you fit to a certain point, but eventually what you'll notice is you'll plateau and you'll stop seeing those gains. So if you're going to ride your bike and you want to be faster on your bike, you want to be able to ride hills, then you need some specificity within your training to make sure that you're going to get there without wasting your time while riding your bike. If you regularly tune in, you know I talk about as we get older, we start to lose strength. Vo2, lactate threshold, and if we're not careful, bone density. And if you're a pure cyclist, cycling's all you do, then that can be amplified. If you train it, you can hold back all of this age-related decline, or at least arrest it for as long as possible. From experience of training myself and other master cyclists, I know that you can continue to get fast and stay fast on your bike well into your 40s and 50s. The thing is that you have to do is be specific and be consistent. If you want to improve your average speed over longer distances and climb faster up hills, then stay tuned. The core focus in my own training and the master cyclists I coach, both men and women, is to grow their pure strength, increase their Vo2 Max, increase their lactate threshold, improve their lactate clearance ability, and keep a focus on their aerobic engine so they can go faster with less effort. That's the difference between just riding your bike and being specific. Just riding your bike is not going to work on the physiology that you need to work on that is deteriorating as you get older. Work on that, stop it deteriorating, stay and get fast on your bike. Now we know that this is possible because how many times have we done sportives where master cyclists are holding their own with younger cyclists? Still putting phenomenal times in time trials locally and still able to hang tough with young kids in chain gangs. We know that happens because we've all seen it. One thing's for sure though is that the older cyclists that stay fast and continue to stay fast and strong up hills are not just riding their bikes in a really steady state fashion week in, week out. They are being way more focused and way more specific and consistent. They are training. As a side note here, from a coaching perspective, I'm working on myself. The cool thing is being specific rather than just riding your bike saves you time. It also means that you're gonna improve your fitness, power, strength going up climbs a lot quicker than those that basically just ride their bikes. Keep watching because I'll go into deeper detail into the why and the types of training sessions that I use and with the cyclists that I coach that keep me and them fast. As a quick recap, in the last episode I talked about why strength and base endurance training are the foundations of speed, power and strength on a bike. So let's talk about the harder training sessions that make me and the master cyclists that I coach faster over longer distances and gets them to be quicker going up hills. I'm going to quickly brush over Vo2 because I've talked about it in a specific video and podcast, but Vo2 I think is something that master cyclists should be training at least 3 or 4 times a year, evenly spaced apart, because we know that our Vo2 dramatically drops as we get older. So it makes zero sense just to train it once at a certain time of year. I think that's old thinking and we need to think better than that. What we're trying to do with specific training is get the physiology, muscles and energy systems to be able to cope and deal with the working metabolites that are the demands of what we're trying to achieve, like ride fast and hard hard and quick going up hills. Harder training sessions such as lactate threshold and lactate clearance training is definitely something I think people should be putting in place. Yeah, it's all the rage right now, especially with the Norwegians, and for really good reason, because it increases your maximal sustainable power and your ability to deal with lactate, shuttle it and use it as a fuel source. Let's talk some practicalities of training. So sweet spot sessions are a great way to improve your lactate threshold, and they're a great way to get started on intensity. The power can be set anywhere between 84% of your FTP right up to 97%. A good way to start is at the lower range of that intensity and aim for multiple sets of 8 minutes with 4 minutes off and repeat them times 3. And here's the great thing about sweet spot training. It's not super tough, which means that you can complete them a few sessions evenly spaced apart during the week, which means you can build on your fitness quite quickly. Let's up the intensity with just over and under training sessions. These types of training sessions help improve lactate clearance. Here's a really good starting example. So start with 1 minute over, 1 minute under, times 4 with 4 minutes easy recovery. These are tough, set at 103% to 105% on the overs and 90 to 80% on the unders. Short, hard VO2 efforts into tempo effort also helps improve lactate clearance. A good example of a set here is 3 blocks of 30 seconds at 125% of FTP into 2 minutes at tempo times 4, then a 5-minute recovery. Now, because those sessions are emotionally and physically quite draining, then I make sure I only do about 1 of those a week. And then the other session in the week is still focused on what I'm trying to be specific on, but it's less full on. Let's talk about tempo training, or what some people describe as the grey zone. Tempo training is generally set around about 87% of FTP. So it's not super tough, but it is tough. I like to call it working but not suffering. Tempo training can be used to help a cyclist improve their aerobic engine, so increase their aerobic ceiling, which allows them to travel faster for less effort. You just have to be pretty careful where you put it and maybe drop down the intensity of other sessions, because as much as it's not super tough, it can definitely push up people's fatigue. I think the reason why coaches don't talk about it a lot is because you can get a better bang for your buck for doing things like threshold work, sweet spot work, and if you've got a lot of time to add tempo training in and you recover well, then it's definitely a tool in the toolbox. And then let's talk about aerobic training, because as much as I've talked about intensity and I've talked about aerobic training in the last episode, is that you still need to respect aerobic training. And I think this is where a lot of cyclists don't respect it. So a lot of people that follow training plans always push the envelope or go too hard in their aerobic training, and then they scratch their heads and wonder why they haven't improved. And that's partly because they're pushing boundaries on what they're supposed to be achieving in their training, but also they're adding more fatigue into their legs when they should have been riding steadier. And that's just affecting how much quality they can do in their more key aspects of their VO2 work, sprint work, lactate threshold work. You can see where I'm coming from. So it's one of the reasons why you'll see a lot of coaches say, ride easy when I tell you to ride easy, and then ride hard when I tell you to ride hard. There's so much I can delve into when it talks about training for master cyclists and what they should be focusing on to get them faster on their bikes. I can't really cover it in one episode, so maybe I should leave you with this. Just riding a bike is very one-dimensional when you want to improve your speed, power, and your ability to ride up hills fast. If you want to get faster on your bike, you need to be working on all your energy systems, and you need to be growing your strength over time. And yeah, it is possible as a master cyclist. As I keep saying to people regularly, if you don't train it, you're going to lose it, and if you're not careful, it could happen quite quickly. In the next podcast, I'll talk all about nutrition and why it's not all just about protein. And I'm going to talk about carbohydrates and insulin and why they aren't the bogeyman for master cyclists when it comes to weight loss. Righty, that's it for this podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've got something out of it, and I'll be back in a month's time. Thanks for watching and listening.